my kind of dream is to create a space with enough freedom. Pallet racks are awesome. It's made of steel. They're not very hard to make. They're available all around the world. Basically every warehouse on the planet has pallet racks in them. One of which, sort of at the top of the pyramid, is doing your own startup. What does education look like in the current context? I feel that the world is really changed in some really fundamental ways, largely because of the internet. The media center, I feel like there's a couple of core components to it. One is, I feel like one of the main things that I'm trying to do right now is really take advantage of this moment in history where you know, all of a sudden we really have free access to all of the world's information. So we're in Shantinagar, Bangalore, and right now my whole world is really about Jaga, trying to sort of step up its evolution. So we've constructed this giant building out of pallet racks, which is a dream, and so the construction continues to go on. It's sort of a constant evolution. Originally, we just covered it in giant tarps, like just single piece tarps. So the whole wall was covered with like 1 or 2 tarps. And it worked pretty well for being waterproof, but it got really hot, so it was really kind of uncomfortable to go inside. Then at the end of the monsoon last year, I took the raincoat off, and then we started experimenting with like other ways of sort of possibly waterproofing it, and it's kind of taken us this long to get to the point where we actually feel like it's both relatively watertight as well as having good ventilation, so that even the upper floors in the middle of the day are comfortable to hang out in. Pallet racks are awesome. They're very standard industrial warehouse shelving. They're available all around the world. Basically every warehouse on the planet has pallet racks in them. So any port on the planet, you know, pretty much there's going to be pallet racks around. And you know, it's made of steel. They're not very hard to make. It's also nice because they're so standard. Some of the load analysis and the structural properties of them are just very well understood. So like these uprights can support 4 tons of weight each, and the beams can support 1.5 tons per pair. And so you can sort of do some back of the envelope math and kind of, you know, quickly understand about, you know, what the load-bearing capacity of a building that you make like this will be. There's some other properties to it that I really like. One is because of all these holes, they're very modular, and so you can very quickly sort of attach beams, which can be guardrails or they can be floors at different levels. Plus, what we've been experimenting is designing and fabricating new kinds of furniture, like the stairs, this table. We can come up with new kinds of furniture which just snaps onto the pallet racks. So we're really interested in sort of exploring, like, you know, what different systems we can really sort of build in sort of modular kind of ways. Another aspect of the pallet racks is they're freestanding, or they can be freestanding. They sort of all get snapped or bolted together such that they form this monolithic structure, which is really not gonna fall over. We've had structural engineers look at it, and everybody's pretty clear that this is just a giant building with a large footprint, and it's not going anywhere. On the other hand, it's something where they enable us to move into spaces where we don't necessarily have, like, you know, complete title or complete rights or even the inclination to build a traditional building. And so we can leverage spaces that are are sort of more ambiguous legally. And so they can potentially be very useful in sort of squatter settlements or refugee situations, or even places like this where there's an investor who owns some investment property and just wants to make use of it in the interim until they get around to building. So I'm really excited about it from this standpoint of being able to like live on a piece of land in a very high density way. We're very vertical. They let you go, 4 to 5 stories high. So we can be here in mass, and then we can potentially pack it all up, put it on a truck and move somewhere else, and the land that we're on is as good or better than it was when we arrived. So that's, I feel this core concept in sustainability, a kind of radical sustainability, is this notion that people living on the land don't necessarily have to degrade it. That we as a population, as the human race, have the potential to sort of live large on land, party, have a good time, learn, make money, do all the things we dream of in such a way that the land that we're sitting on just gets better and better. That we could potentially take this whole building down and then just start farming this land when we're gone. And it's sort of a powerful concept. Pretty clear, on a global level, that we need to be exploring how to live in urban environments in sustainable ways. And this is pretty radical, but it feels like one very sustainable alternative for high density urban style living, working,